You know, in hindsight, we went way too easy on Kevin Feige for this. A lot of you are gonna be mad at me for making this video, but it has to be said, Marvel needs to man the F up. Let me explain. You have probably heard people call the MCU the MCU. And I remember when I first heard that, and I was like, nah. Guys, I was literally the guy that would get mad when people would call the MCU the MCU. I remember at the time arguing with people and being like, yeah, Feige is obviously bringing a lot of female characters into the MCU, but there are a lot of good characters and they're being done right. Nothing inherently wrong here, and I'm sure we're still gonna have all these awesome macho male characters. Then I watched Sharon Carter become the power broker. I watched the Seinfeld lady come into the MCU and kind of like replace Thunderbolt Ross. And the main villain of Falcon and the Winter Soldier is this freedom fighter chick who seems unintimidating as and that was all just one show. Then we had Loki, which sets up a bunch of female judges. You've got a female Loki and a female robot thing. And then we had Hawkeye, which is basically not about Hawkeye, more about Kate Bishop and Yelena. Then Moon Knight weirdly inserted the Scarlet Scarab character. Love and Thunder was Love and Thunder. She-Hulk was She-Hulk. You got Multiverse Madness, which is just as much about Wanda and America Chavez as it is about Doctor Strange. You got Wakanda Forever, which is about basically just all the gals and friggin' Namor who gets punked out in the end. And don't even get me started on Secret Invasion and Gaia, the new most powerful character in the MCU. Basically, Marvel kind of earned the MCU moniker. And look, I know it's an uncomfortable subject. I know some of you are mad right now. You're mad at me the same way I was mad at people 2 years ago for calling the MCU, and I get it. But look at what is happening in the actual Marvel Cinematic Universe. Look at the fact that The Marvels is the lowest grossing movie within the entire MCU catalog, 33 movies in. It's like, I think trying to attract more females to comic book movies is a good thing, but maybe the way they went about doing this was really brain dead. You think it's possible that they were just super reductive, didn't actually think too hard about this, and lazily moved forward with kind of the same idea or motif behind almost all of their shows and production? Because it's obvious they're doing it, and it's obvious the numbers are going down. So it's like, you tell me what's happening. But you know, it's not just the fact that all of these female characters are popping up. It's also what they're doing to the male characters. It's like the king of queens up in this bitch. Hulk is now a who lets his cousin say to his face that she's got it harder than him because she's a female, despite him being the only confirmed character to attempt self-deletion within this universe. Thor is now a punk who got fat and sad and then ran away from being a ruler. He ran away from being an Avenger, and he literally had his hammer cheat on him with his ex. Doctor Strange got demoted from Sorcerer Supreme. He gets beat up and lectured to by women during his entire sequel. And at the end of that movie, he gets recruited by another chick to go do some shit that he actually f***ed up on. Hawkeye is lame and sad now. Vision loses his mind. Bucky is depressed. T'Challa is gone because Disney didn't have the balls to recast the classic character that everybody wanted to see, and instead Shuri. Iron Man is dead, but don't worry, you've got Ironheart. It's like, what is happening, dude? Why are all the male Marvel characters sad, dumb, or depowered? Wow. It's like they left us with a bunch of soft, self-doubting boys. Like, have you ever seen comics, man? You think people out there get excited when they see a regular Joe or some dude struggling with mental health on the cover of a comic book? Like, you think all the comic book fans are cracking these pages open every Wednesday to try to look at your everyday fella? And they're getting so hyped up to hear these characters talk about their feelings. Hell no, son. We got into comic books because we want to see totally jacked to the gills, ripped, macho, mega alpha males beat the out of each other. It is practically WWE meets soap opera. We want muscles on muscles on muscles. We want guns way too big to even be held by a normal human being. And pouches, man. Give me pouches on pouches on pouches. And the ladies, man, we used to have total babes in comics. Oh my god, you would oodle over these female characters. The Marvel Cinematic Universe has all of their females desexualized to the point where they might as well be wearing trash bags. And I get it, not all the characters are gonna dress like that, right? They're probably gonna be some characters that are a little bit more tactical with their shit, but we've always had babes, man. Babes. Do you remember babes? Let me ask you something. Who's the babes in the MCU right now? Can you name any of them? And the thing that's weird and ironic about this is if you go look at some of these actresses' Instagrams or their Twitters, the posts that they actually make, they look hot. Like, it's so weird that their own self-expression is one of some sexuality, of some attractiveness, of some appeal of the female form, and yet when they do their superhero we gotta dress them up in trash bags? There's a whole industry of cosplayers that do sexy versions of these characters that Marvel Studios and Disney invites to the premieres. They bring these people to the premieres, and yet they can't see that in some ways these cosplayers are doing a better job than the studio by at least having some sexuality, some appeal, and dare I say it, babes out there in the space. And like, this is what I mean, guys. Marvel needs to man the F up. And when I say that, I literally mean just do more stuff that dudes like. I don't know why that's controversial. I don't know why that's not obvious. Like, do more stuff that dudes like in comic book movies. Like, recently some people have gotten into hot water by talking about this. Like, Chris Gore was making this point. I saw Grace Randolph make this point, and they were essentially talking about how Disney is trying to make some of their big brands, including Star Wars and Marvel, into like girl brands. And like, maybe that's a crass way to say it. I don't know. It feels like there's no way to say it where some of you guys won't just lose your shit about it and get way too sensitive. But the fact is, it's true. Marvel was literally doing that. Like, we all acknowledge that that's what they were doing, right? They were doing that. They were putting more females in the thing. They were elevating the female. They want more females. Like, come on, man. That's obvious, right? And at the end of the day, there's a lot of reasons as to why Disney might want to do this, right? They want sales beyond just the movies, beyond the comic books. They want people to go to theme parks. They want people to buy costumes, to friggin' engage with their brands in all sorts of ways. And I know it's super fashionable to sell like Loki purses or Miss Marvel backpacks and all this other stuff. So I totally get it. There is a market for female nerds, and I think that's absolutely fantastic. But you can't leave behind the core audience that has held up this thing for decades and decades. Just do dude shit. Comic books and comic book movies appeal generally to male wish fulfillment, to these crazy ideas that young boys have where they want to be super strong and friggin' jump over buildings and fly and impress babes. Like, guys, I don't know if you know this, but the dudes that literally invented Superman, Jerry Siegel and Joel Shuster, like those two boys from Cleveland, they literally admitted that part of the reason why they made it is because they wanted to impress girls. They thought if they could do the things that Superman did, they would impress girls. Is it adolescent? Yes. Is it just male stuff? Dude stuff? Yes. But is it also the fabric of why that stuff has been popular for years and years and years? Fucking yes! Now, lucky for us, it seems like maybe some of this was unintentional. Like, they wanted to do a bunch of interesting stuff with all these male characters. I mean, I'm really stretching, giving them the benefit of the doubt here. But it's possible that this wasn't like an agenda. They weren't just like, well, let's make all the male characters... Let's make all the female characters very capable and strong, and also dress them in trash bags. Like, that cannot possibly be on a whiteboard up in Marvel Studios, but it might as well be, right? But again, I'm kind of thinking maybe they're figuring it out. I mean, they're delivering just such bad results with the Marvel Cinematic Universe content at this point. They should probably take a look in the mirror, really assess the situation, look at comic books, and understand that you need macho alpha male energy, and you need hot babes. Like, really, I just don't think it's that complicated. And with some characters coming into the MCU, like a Red Hulk for, you know, Harrison Ford in the Captain America movie, with the Sentry coming in, even the Thunderbolts, like, you know, again, hopefully Bucky's not just so fucking sad and depressed during the whole Thunderbolt, because he was alphas in the Winter Soldier. Oh my God, dude, he was like a force of nature. He cucked Captain America. He killed Nick Fury. He was whooping Black Widow's ass, and it was awesome. So hopefully we get back to that energy, and with characters like Wolverine coming into the MCU, and a lot of the X-Men in general do have a big history of being macho, being badass. You got characters like Doctor Doom on the horizon, right? Magneto on the horizon. And so hopefully we get back to that a little bit. We get that macho energy back into the MCU. And it's like, I want there to be accessible content for everybody, right? I used to always say, you know, Kevin Feige absolutely does a lot for female audience members, right? When they first started doing all this stuff years ago. But I would always say that that's perfectly fine and actually awesome because it's bringing more female fans to the space. But you gotta also give the right toys to the male audience. You can't like start giving all these toys to this female audience that you're trying to build up, while also taking away all of the toys and all the stuff that the male audience loved that was the foundation of this entire universe. And I mean, if you just look at the numbers out there, that is bearing out. This new audience, this like plethora of female fans that they thought would come in and be watching all the stuff and reading all the comic books, it didn't happen. It's not happening. And instead, you saw a lot of the male audience get frustrated and begin to check out. So that's it, periods, full stop. Marvel needs to man the f up. And as a fan, I'm hoping they do. I think they will. Please, God, do it. Let me know your thoughts. And as I always say, I hope you're having an awesome and a nerdy day. And I'll see you in the next video.